Alright, so in this part what we're going to do is we are going to scour all of these maps. So what we're just looking for is the Drox Citadel, the Veranias, the Barons, and the Al-Hez. As you can see, the end game of this game is just all about doing these like guardians. These are the conquerors, and you can get these maps by just going to Kyrax. Sometimes he'll sell certain ones. Look, there's one right there. But you can purchase these off of players. They're about 30 chaos if you buy them off players. I mean, this is just a deal, so I'm just gonna go snag it, because if I was to purchase this off a player, it would cost a little bit more. But I'm just gonna run them white, and with these maps, what you can do, well, you can obviously quality up them if you want to, but to make things easier, you can still do the strategy before, where you just get the pact with energy, so you get more damage reduction. And I actually went back and decided, let's just go run this setup again with the teleport, just because these bosses are kind of easy, and I think we can handle it. So we made some changes. I removed Herald of Ice, so I didn't have to have the mana reservation over here. So I just dropped that, so I saved myself some points. Is it worth it? It's kind of up to you. It's not that important, though. But this is important. Make sure we select this, because it makes the map so much easier. Because, well, you just get a free buff. So let's go ahead and go in. And I'll do this first one, and then we're just going to cut to the bosses, just like we would normally. Because the map is essentially going to be the same. However, at the end of the boss, there is going to be something different. So at the very end of the boss, there will be a portal after you defeat the boss. We're going to get some shrines here too. Oh, this is going to be just zoom. And you can see, I like having this option. And I'll show you, now that we have Hydrosphere, and we also have Tornado inside of our Asinus helmet when the boss comes. So I have two different Asinus helmets here. And we are going to be swapping right before the boss, because I don't really want to be teleporting around, especially in Veranias, because in Veranias, well, what can happen is, oh, here's the boss, you will just rip. So we'll go ahead and eliminate this boss over here while we're still teleporting around. So after we're going to swap our helmets here. So now we're not going to be teleporting around, but I will be getting Tornado and Hydrosphere, which is two excellent things to have. You can also throw on other things. You can throw on like Frost Bomb. Maybe there's also a few different things that you can throw on, but this is the boss fight. So actually I should stop DPSing her. Oh, please don't die. Okay, I don't know if she'll die, because I forgot I need to actually show you guys how this works. So she throws out some tornadoes. When she does this move right here, she's going to land like right on you. You'll see that there's a little white circle. It's kind of hard to see because everything's white here. But in terms of the mechanics, she throws out some ice spears. Not that big of a deal. Just don't walk into the clouds. The clouds will make you take damage. And that's basically Verania in a nutshell over here. But we now have one of the pieces, and we're going to collect all four, just like before, like the Exodia pieces, and then we're going to do another boss, but I'm just going to cut it to the bosses for this part. So, important thing I should mention. So I have two copies of the same exact helmet. This one I'm running the Lightning Warp and Restoration, and the other one I'm running Tornado and Hydrosphere. So I'm just basically swapping these in and out. So I've already showed you guys what Hydrosphere does. So this just makes it so the arrows can hit this, then chain to another target. I've also added a Dying Sun. This thing should be actually pretty cheap by now. Yeah, it's like 20 chaos. If you want to get a Dying Sun, this makes it so you get two additional projectiles. Now, I'm also running this ring called Nimbus. This can be a little bit pricey. If you want to get one, I mean, it's not like super impossible to get. It's 14 divines for the lowest one. And what it does is make so your projectiles return to you. If you want to, you can just run the return projectile support, but you're missing out on another like link, if that makes sense. So you are losing out on quite a bit of damage if you opt to just run returning projectiles. But if you want the projectiles to return, that's totally good. The reason why you may still want the projectiles to return is because we are getting far shot. So when the projectiles go out and then they come back, it's going to count all of the distance. So if something is like literally, like if I was shooting, let's say this little cage here, when the arrow comes back, it's going to still measure that distance. Even though I'm point blank, it hits him once, then it's going to go out and come back and hit him again. And then with the Hydrosphere, this can actually make the target be hit again. And with a Tornado, which comes out here, that can actually absorb projectiles and get you additional change, and it just gets absolutely crazy for bosses in terms of how fast you can actually complete them. But let's go ahead and do this boss. So this boss actually has some mechanic where they summon some banners. It's really not that big of a deal though. This is a relatively easy boss. There is a move where he does like a slam attack. Oh, our damage is like way too strong. He might just melt too fast. But he'll throw down a banner, and during this, he's going to take a lot less damage. You can refill up your flasks if you want to. But I'm going to let him do some stuff. You could actually still damage him during this. You do a lot less damage, but our damage is so high, we will melt him too fast. So this is supposed to be the phase where, like, oh, okay, you're going to, like, recharge your stuff. Like, you refill your flasks. But as soon as that goes away, we're going to melt him. I mean, he's already going to still take some damage here, but eventually it'll go away. I want him to do one of his attacks so I can show you. There's a little thing where he, like, does like a punch slam. Some of them... Oh, there it is, right there. That's it. So once you see that, that's about it. He has another, like, stronger slam. But let's go ahead and end him. There we go. But that is Drox. So now we've got his crest, we've got Britannia's. We need to get 2 more, and then we will be ready to fight Sirus. Or Cyrus. Also, some of the maps, like this guy, he may summon some snakes. And the snakes, they do damage. There's some other modifiers on some of the conqueror maps, and you'll see like maybe these blue squares don't stand on top of them. They do damage. But, oh, there should be a boss that comes out. Boss is going to come out, and it is gone. Probably could have saved the ball thing, but we have all these buffs, and that's why I like going for shrines. So his mechanic is, he creates an arena. I'll try not to, like, do too much damage to him, because we will absolutely melt him. So he has this mechanic where there's going to be snakes on the outside and snakes on the inside. So now the snakes are on the inside. So that means we just run around, stay on the outside. And eventually, he will create an arena where the snakes are on the outside, and you want to stand in the inside of the triangle. So I'm going to maybe a little bit lower, and he'll do it. It's really not that big of a deal, though. At this point, we're like super strong. But basically, if you see the snakes on the outside, you stand on the inside. But when the snakes are on the inside, you stand on the outside. You shoot once around and move. Since we have this Mirage Archer, it makes things very easy, but we got his crest. And his stuff can actually be worth some stuff. And the reason why is you can get like additional curses with this is cursed enemies with despair on hit. I don't know if they're still worth anything, but like it's because he has like the hunter influence. These can actually be worth something if you know exactly what you're going for. So if you want to, just pick up the items as they drop and see if, you know, maybe you can actually sell them. But from the top of my head, at this point, like, I've got so much currency, it's no big deal. But now we've completed 3 out of the 4 bosses for the mechanics for Sirus. Alright, now we're going to the Crusaders. So basically, there's a bunch of squares. He has one attack where he'll charge up and slam. Hopefully he'll, like, show it off. But basically, there's a bunch of squares that come out. You don't stand on the ones that are blue. Sometimes you'll also see it on the map. He's already like almost dead. Okay, so don't stand on the blue squares. And see how he's got his hand raised in the air. When he slams, that will kill you. But that's basically his mechanic. I want to say he's one of the more easier ones, but most of them at this point, since we got so much damage, it's pretty easy. But we've already did all 4 of these. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to be doing the Sirus boss. So let's go ahead and do Sirus, throw in all of the parts, and we're going to hit activate. So this boss over here, what we can also do, because he doesn't really have like a basic attacks, I'm going to remove Grace from the build, and I'm going to throw it back in Hatred because more damage. On top of that, if you want to, you can throw in Bone Chill, Creeping Frost to get extra like cold effectiveness. It doesn't really matter too much though. But just having other spells in your helmet can be okay, because you actually don't really need to reset your Hydrosphere as well as your Tornado consistently. But this boss needs a lot of explanations. Oh, probably should have actually threw in some other flasks, but it's fine. If we die, we can go pick up the life flask. Ideally, just have a bunch of flasks, because most bosses in this game you're not going to be able to refill your flasks. Unless you have like crit strike. So getting like damage once, if you have the damage, I might be able to like one burst him, but I want to show you guys how to do it properly. The only expensive thing I have is Nimbus, and it's like, it makes things a little bit nicer for the projectiles to return. But let's go ahead and go on in. So in the very beginning, you have to basically find him. So do not touch the tornadoes. It will kill you. You have to go directly under him. It's one of the more annoying things with this boss fight. Okay, so you're going to go right under him, and then that's going to activate him. I wish I had some flasks. So you'll see that there is kind of an arena here in that red circle. You do not want to go outside of that. Okay, so let's go ahead. When you hear die, that's when he's going to use one of his attacks. That is a beam. You want to continuously move. I forgot to equip my flasks here. So we're still going to keep on this flask, but wherever I put my other flasks, I always like to have just a bunch of life flasks for like all the boss fights. This is like overkill, but for like any beginner, you might need more than one, and it's all good. So let's go ahead and reactivate all of our buffs, which in our case are precision, hatred, and I'm running vitality because my Watcher's Eye has it. A bonus, but let's go ahead and go on in. If we can click on it, there we go. Alright, let's go right back in. Alright. So fortunately he wrecked us. But hello Fark, and hello McNugget. Alright, back to Sirus, and sometimes you have to go back and forth because the area is kind of hard. He's pushing us away. Over here, let's see. Okay. So you can run a mobility skill, but now we're under him. It's a-okay. So when he says die, you want to continuously move until you see his beam come by. But he has these little like volcano spouts. And he has like a meteor move. I'll show you the meteor move in a second, where it like matters more. So now he's going to push us out. We don't want to be pushed into the tornado. This is kind of an unlucky one. Okay. You need to wait for the ability to get back in there. Sometimes it takes a while for him to get to an area. So I just kind of wait it out. Because these do move. Okay, here we go. Now we're under him again. The little black tornadoes have moved. So when he says die, keep on moving. If you get hit by that, we are freeze immune, but if it does freeze you, you would normally just be dead. Okay, we got him like down pretty far. But I need to show you off the other mechanics. There are more mechanics. It's more so in melee, where you actually have to like follow his like patterns. But when you're playing range, it doesn't really matter too much. And I usually like playing ranged builds. I don't really like playing melee anymore. So we gotta kind of wait, and we just keep on popping our heals. That's why I love having all these flasks. It makes it so much easier. Okay, now we can finally go under him again. Pop another life flask. And I think all my flasks will have like chance to gain on crit. I'm trying not to damage him too much. I could kill him like instantly, but I want to show you guys how to actually kill him. So when he does this meteor move, you have to follow these little like areas, otherwise that will hit you, and it'll do massive amounts of damage. He has another move where he'll summon a bunch of clones. So here we go. And he'll kind of throw like a cross pattern. And it kind of spirals out. So again, we got to get under him. So sometimes we just got to wait to get under. He's a relatively fair boss, I would say. We just got kind of unlucky and we ripped. Sometimes that happens on any PoE boss. You just get unlucky where like this on this are like too close to each other so you can't move. Or now we're under him again. Just a good DPS. So he'll do this move where he summons a bunch of like clones, and you'll see that it starts to spin. But we have enough movement speed where we can just kind of walk. Sometimes he will do the die. Oh, he just did that, but he didn't say die. So sometimes having the game audio, it does help, but sometimes it just straight up like doesn't tell you that he's doing the move, and it's unfortunate because I think it's a really cool fight where you like you understand he's saying die, so then you got to move, but it happens. Let's go ahead and go back in and finish off. He's like at 1 HP, I want to say. He's pretty low. But at least he did get to do the clone. That's why I didn't want to melt him ASAP. Oh, sometimes... I was hoping that would open up. Sometimes you get unlucky, but we've got several portals. We can use them. Okay, especially if it's your first time. This boss is not easy, by the way, for your first time. There's another mechanic where he'll throw out 2 walls, and he'll throw a fireball left, right, but sometimes it's kind of RNG, you know, how often he's doing any moves with any boss, and sometimes it may take a while. But that move is really not that big of a deal. The most important thing is that little, like, meteor area. Can we go here? Okay, it's, like, barely open here. Okay. Entering the arena sometimes is dangerous on it. There we go. So he's doing this move again. We've got to follow the little embers. Having a movement speed ability is great. And he's going to go slam. And then now it's going to start spinning. There we go. And we got him down. So he dropped the Crusader gloves, and we can mess around with this. These are potentially some of the best things in the entire game. I'll show you why. So I guess we can identify these, see if there's any cool things on it. But we'll go for the sake of identifying it is not worth anything. But these gloves can be worse stuff. So these are the Crusader gloves. I mean, you can identify them. It doesn't really matter. So how these work, it can be modified while corrupted. And it can have up to 5 implicit modifiers on the item. So normally how it works is implicits, with the exception of like Elder's Currency, you usually only have like 1, sometimes maybe 2 implicits on an item. However, you can have 5 on this. So most of the time, okay, it did roll perfect increased maximum life, which is good. And then it's kind of like lower on the resistance one. It's not super expensive, so I'm going to go ahead and play with them, and I'll show you what you can kind of do. We actually have to like talk to Zana over here. And I'll go right back. But let's go ahead and show off how these gloves work, because it's kind of a cool mechanic. So what you can do is you can vol orbit. I mean, you can quality it up first if you want to, but you can use tainted currency at this point, so it doesn't really matter. But normally, if you really wanted to be like, hey, can I try to get some of the best stuff before tainted currency? That was a way to do it. But we're going to vol orbit until we hit something good. We might get nothing off of it, and it's basically bricked on the first one. Okay, so +1 to maximum frenzy charge is probably a decent one, right? So by default, they're worth about 30 chaos. Now, +1 to frenzy charge, now we're already at 80 chaos. Do I want to push it further? Maybe I want to. I mean, the gloves themselves aren't bad because they have, like, increased maximum life. I can't use these because I want to run things with evasion. However, now that I'm running this, I actually don't even need the evasion. But having +1 to maximum frenzy charge is like an okay thing to have. But if I want to push my luck more, I could get, like, elemental weakness on hit, like when I hit enemies, or I can activate this and it can just give me basically garbage, and I just wasted 100 chaos orbs, but it's part of the fun. Okay, that one did nothing. And now they're just gloves that have +1 frenzy charges, no plus life, and now we have officially bricked the item. So you can get some pretty insane things with these. They can go up in value. Like if I hit another really good mod on it, I mean, it could be worth a couple divines. And then I can hit it with another one and it could be worth even more. It's a huge, like, thing that you can have some fun with. But yeah, he doesn't always drop those, but if it does drop, it's kind of like, you know, the Uber Elder, he can drop the Water Side. But now we have completed Sirus, and we also have already done the Uber Elder, and you will also get a favored map slot, so you can kind of select some of the maps that you want, but we still need to complete everything, and the final thing is to actually defeat the Maven. The Maven is one of the most difficult bosses, but we'll save that for another part. Basically, what you need to do is you have to do a memory game for the Maven, but that is Sirus completed. Alright, so now we are going to be doing the final boss, and that is the Maven. So the Maven actually requires you to gather some materials, just kind of like all the other bosses of Path of Exile. Although with her, you just need to grab 10 copies of what's called the Crescent Splinters. You can trade these with other players, but if you want to acquire these, you're going to have to do it via getting... Oh gosh, my inventory is so messed up here since it just like moved all of the stuff. what you need to do is you need to get these little items called the crescent splinters. Now, to actually acquire these, you're going to need to go and get the Maven invite. So you can do a bunch of maps, and then you'll have to enable this, and then you can go ahead and eventually put this in. You can activate it, and she'll have these splinters drop. Once you collect 10, you will be able to get the Maven's Writ, and you can do the Maven. Now, this boss fight is very, very difficult. The one thing with this boss fight is it prevents regen, and a lot of things that will kill you are basically one-shotty. As far as like the flasks go, if you just want to run all offensive flasks, that's totally fine. Like, most of the flasks here probably won't do too much work, other than maybe the Diamond Flask and Onslaught. These would be kind of nice, but for the most part, it doesn't even matter. You can bring a heal if you want. I mean, we're not going to really need additional movement speed here, but we'll grab one. Let's go ahead and go on in. So, you're going to have to get 10 splinters, and then on top of that, you can also just grab your Maven's Writ, and then you can throw this one in. And this boss fight, I'm just going to mention, is very, very, very hard. I actually expect most people on their first run to actually fail this. I failed it several times. My first run hack, I'll probably end up ripping here, and you'll see that the boss fight is not easy. So let's go ahead and go on in. So the things I need to explain with this, there are several mechanics. The first thing I want to go over is there is this rotating side platform. When the middle of the arena starts to expand, you actually want to go towards the outer edges and go onto the little side platforms. There's also a mechanic where you have to have a memory game. The area is divided into basically the top over here. It's kind of in like 1/3, so you can kind of see where it's cut. So it's basically the top, the left, this is the left over here, and then this is the right. You have to memorize, when there's the memory game, what order she marks them in green, and there is like a game. So it'll mark it in purple, and then you basically will mark it as green as the correct one. It's going to be something you'll have to see, and honestly, it's like really unfair. You could pretty much die on most of it and still complete it. I usually end up doing that strategy anyways, because if you have enough damage, you can kind of cheese this boss, to be honest. But let's go ahead and go on in and get the gameplay. So to actually start her, you're going to go engage her just like Sirus, where you just walk under her. But one thing that's nice with this build, since we have the projectiles return, we don't really need to aim too much. We can focus more on just moving and shooting. But yeah, this boss fight is not easy at all. And I'll mention some of the stuff as it kind of goes along. We actually have pretty good damage here. Don't actually stand still when she says that. But just like Shaper, there are these balls that you kind of want to pop in the same areas, ideally. Trying to get hit by things. But don't think that that's it. That's the easy part. So the brain's going to be coming out, and we're going to have to go to the side platform, and it's going to pop. I actually ran into AoE. I was kind of curious to see how much damage it would do, to be honest. But it looks like we're fine. And then so now we have to fight the brain. So basically there's the Maven and the brain. The lasers on the side, those purple lasers, if they touch you, you will not be able to regenerate your HP. It's the most annoying thing. Oh, I think we're doing a memory game now. This is the most annoying part of the entire fight. So she's going to mark these areas. So top, right, top. So this one's easy. So it's top, right, top. Easy. But it's not going to be easy when it's like a bunch of them and we have to dodge lasers, and it's not easy. Oh, that pink beam, by the way, I actually ran towards it. But that pink beam will one-shot you absolutely, so don't get hit by the pink beam. It's no good. Don't actually stand still. That thing's easy to dodge. But the pink beam. Also, during this fight, she will summon bosses, and it's kind of random on what bosses that you get. Where's my golem? There we go. But that when she says to stand still, those lasers don't hurt that much. You can see that there are some scuffed things on the ground. That pink one, that's the one that you actually have to like watch out for. Okay. Okay, so it starts over here, then it's gonna go up, down. Okay, this is easy. It's just back and forth. So now it's gonna be green. And if you get it wrong, what will happen is the center will start to explode, and you're basically just dead, to be honest. If you fail it, like, you can in theory get away from it, but it's pretty much a GG wrap up. We got a bunch of balls on us now. Yeah, there's that. That's the pink beam. That one's easy to dodge. No biggie.
Resistance will be punished.
Now it's going to be a lot harder because we're going to go do this. And we'll pop our ball ice shot. Just big DPS window now. Get rid of the brain.
My irritation is growing. Stand still. This will not be an escape.
So left up. Awesome. This one's actually pretty easy. We didn't get any on the right side. This is actually incredibly lucky. There's the pink beam. If you have to tank something, don't let it be the pink beam, because sometimes there's just legitimately too much going on, and you can survive some of the attacks. But she also has a slam attack. That one you cannot survive, just like most of the slam attacks. I think we're sitting in the D-gen right now. Can you see? It's okay.
Stop resisting.
Now I think it's going to get a lot harder. Oh, there we go. Run to the edge. Unfortunately, our little golden guy died.
Punishment inescapable.
We can out DPS it before the laser touches us. Good. That's good. Now it's a lot harder because not only do we have to not get hit by the lasers, but we also have to play the memory game. And I feel like it's very, very unfair. Where is she? Oh, this is the memory game. We are 100% failing this one. I didn't even get to see it. I'm just guessing. Did we actually get that? That's really, really lucky. We're gonna have to walk through this, but unfortunately, since we touched the beam, now we're not gonna be able to regen for 10 seconds, which is like a 99% chance that you're just dead. It's, again, very, very unfair in my personal opinion, but we have 6 portals, and we're gonna use all 6. All right. I think we got touched by the thing again. It's 10 seconds. It doesn't last forever in terms of no regen, but again, you're pretty much just dead. You get hit by it.
Stand still. This will not be an escape.
Oh, I think we're doing the memory game again. Yeah, I'll be honest, this one is it's a ripperoni. But at least I can show you what happens. I mean, I could guess it, but... Alright, it's okay. We still got what? We still got 3 portals. No problem, no problem. We're actually doing pretty good here. So I'm gonna wait till she kind of, like, shows herself. Woo! And when we eliminate her, we will get the elevated sextant over here, which is awesome. But this is a random drop, so this is a really nice thing to have. But what we actually wanted from her is specifically the Void Stone. This allows us to go ahead on the Atlas and put it in. But once we defeat her, that is the final boss of the game. And as you guys can see, even though I've played for thousands of hours, and if you look up other like gameplay, or even if you look up like how to beat Maven, a lot of mechanics, even though people can defeat her on hardcore. A lot of mechanics revolve around, if you get touched once by the laser, you just leave. You just literally like log out. Because the boss fight has some mechanics that are legitimately very difficult, but if your DPS is pretty decent, you can kind of out DPS. I mean, our DPS isn't like best in the world, and you know, we're still able to manage it mostly. But it is not an easy fight, so if you fail it, do not worry. It is not an easy fight, and I expect most people to fail on the first try, that they do it, but that's okay. That means that you have to maybe practice and go in again. I can usually defeat it using multiple portals, but like doing a deathless run on Maven is astronomically hard. And on top of that, I did get kind of lucky a couple times, so I still had 2 more like portals, so I still had 2 more mistakes, and you can do it too. I believe in you. Even if you mess up, go in again, man. The first time I ever fought like Shaper, you know, a lot of these mechanics you just have to learn. Just like Shaper, there are these like little balls that can go on the floor. They do get erased like midway through the fight, and then you have to set up new ones, but for the most part, that's not the problem. The problem for me is the memory game. When I can't even see because I'm trying to dodge all the lasers and all these things going out, is crazy. But congratulations, if you made it this far, you have defeated the Maven. That is like the end game boss. Now, of course, you can go in and you can make the bosses harder, add more map modifiers and stuff, but that's pretty much it for Path of Exile. You completed the game. Congratulations, you're part of the 0.01%. You've actually defeated Maven, no joke. That is actually the completion rate of that boss, because most people either have someone else do it or they just don't even bother doing it. They're just interested in doing maps consistently, and that's how they have some fun. But there it is, guys. We have completed PoE. Congratulations. And the new league is starting very soon. I'll talk about what my plans are for the brand new league. But there we go, guys. Maven is done. You completed the game. Throw in the brand new Watchstone for your Atlas. Over here, we actually have, let's go back to the Atlas. Oh, we have to actually put them all in. Oh, did it reset them? Anyways, nonetheless, we have all of them. We have them all obtained. You want to, where the heck did they go? But anyways, they might be, I don't know if you can even stash those things. But nonetheless, put them all in. Where the heck are they? I don't know. Anyways, put them all in, and then all the maps will turn red. You can see we have obtained all of the stones. So that's it. You did it. Like, congratulations. Honestly, I'm proud of you. It's not an easy thing to complete the entirety of PoE, and a lot of times, some builds they just struggle on that boss fight. And if you are struggling and you really want help, you can look at Discord groups. You can just type in the all chat, I need help with Maven. Sometimes people are like, oh bro, I got you. But keep in mind, sometimes people will maybe want the loot from it. And honestly, Maven is so hard. If you maybe only have like 2 portals left, or whatever the case may be, you can actually ask someone for help. Maybe you could try it on your own. But again, the memory game, if you are dying to that, like, don't worry, it's a hard thing. Anyways, that's to wrap it up. Congratulations. I'll see you guys in the next one. You guys have finished PoE. And I'll put, nothing has changed from the pop though, but I'll link it down below. And next league we'll be starting, and then I'm probably going to be playing something different for the next league, but if we want to, we can always go back to this build, as it's very, very good. But anyways, peace out.